loved that movie with Will Smith, I, Robot.
Oh, I love
You ever
iRobot.
seen that
Yeah,
one?
that's a classic. That's a good one. I I don't
Isn't
think
it
that's
isn't
the.
it interesting that
Mhm. Go
it,
ahead.
it's interesting that that move like that Roombas now are called the company that makes those now are called iRobot.
I know.
A little weird, but I love that movie because the idea of the scariest thing about when people talk about robots taking over something, you know, you always think like it's some kind of hostile, blah blah blah. But that
Mhm.
movie laid out like a pretty kind of realistic scenario where the AI set like understands outcomes, and they understand the AI understands like if you continue down this path, this is what will happen. We cannot allow that to happen because that would, be bad for us or be bad for the AI, be bad for whoever. And so rules were put in place and things happen in order for, the robots to basically put mankind under martial law to protect them.
Yeah,
And it's like
AI is a scary thing, but I'm not
we keep just
as
running,
worried.
we just keep running towards all this craziness. Like we've seen the movies.
I know, but
We
I
know
mean,
what happened.
speaking of the robot, like the iRobot, the little Roomba in the house, I have one.
Uh,
What's scary is the idea of having robots in your house. Like I remember watching that as a kid, and I was like, I wonder if we're
yeah.
gonna have robots in the house. And
Like the
now we do.
Jetsons.
Yeah, like the Jetsons and all that, and like we do have
Yeah.
robots in the house, and I can
Yeah.
control those robots with the Internet of Things, with Siri or Google Home or with my phone or my iPad. Like everything's connected. So what
Yeah.
happens when AI gets a hold of that and decides that we're all not needed anymore? It's
Yeah.
gonna start vacuuming all of my house, and my car is gonna automatically start starting, and just weird things are gonna start happening, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's scary stuff, man. I hope we don't get taken over by robots in my lifetime or my kids. Their
I
kids, I don't know yet. So
I hopefully we don't get to that point, but
yeah.
it's a reality. It's just it's hard to know, like, if you have like a supercomputer, and if we get quantum computing anytime soon, everyone's debating that, and then
Yeah.
whether an AI can be ran on top of that, like how much is it going to analyze how much it needs us around? Is it going to analyze it to the point where it decides that it does need us for survival, or that it doesn't need us for survival? Like, I always think about that process, like its thinking process at that point. Like, what would it actually decide? And I don't think it's something we can ever really figure out. I think we're just going to witness it when it happens if we keep developing
Yeah.
AI. Did you ever hear about those two AIs that Facebook had, the chat bots, and they started developing their own
Yep.
language?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah, I remember that.
was a sweet
And
company.
they had there was another one, another set of robots that I think it was also Google.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it was Google for sure. It was part of their mapping for Google Maps,
Hmm.
and they had been giving the AI feeding it information so that they know where to go on the map and pull information from and pull it back. So like, let's say that we wanted the map to I'm in Atlanta. Let's say
Hmm.
we want the map to map out Manitoba, Canada. Okay.
Right.
It would go straight there, it would get the information, and then it would come back. But the AI learned, they're like, wait a second, if I go up to Manitoba, going over a lot of miles there in the middle, I can actually take some internal notes about the topography, topography of whatever that land in the middle is. That way, when I have to go back there, because I think I'm going to go everywhere,
Hmm.
I'll already have data on that and I can do my job quicker. And they started noticing it was going faster and faster and faster. But like it was hiding that information. It was taking it and it was, this is so crazy. It was taking the data and converting it into pixels that were just a hair, like in the RGB, everything's like like a hex color or whatever, or like
Hmm.
color B4821. It was just one shade off, and they were able to hide all that data and pull it right back out when they came. And I was like, that's so weird.
It is.
Like they know how to
There's
hide.
actually like a generator through, and I think it's NVIDIA. They have this like simulation where you can literally draw like whatever environment, and it'll find that environment, that geographical location for you, and pull it up as a photo. They got some crazy
That's
stuff
so
out there.
crazy, man.
Crazy stuff.
Only getting crazier.